and stories. This is our third episode while we're reading through Carmilla.
The cooler copy.
Yeah.
Because I actually have a new illustration to
That's
show you.
nice. We have...
That was rude.
No, it's nice. It's nice. We have read through chapters 3 through 5.
Yes.
But honestly, before we get started, I've got something for you.
Oh, you can eat a fucking bag of dicks, but this is why you wanted to be the intro. You weren't working on anything. You just wanted to be like, I actually have something for you too. I will have to leave the room for it.
That's okay. So for everybody out there, nobody knows this, but tomorrow is my dear friend Jeffrey's birthday. And those of you all who've listened before know
thick.
that I just got back from vacation.
This is real thick. It's gonna make the gift I have for you seem a little paltry and compare.
It's not my birthday.
Yeah, but I get gifts all the time because I love everybody. Oh my god, it's so packaged. Did you package this or did they package it?
Bridget did it.
Oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense. This is too well done to have been done by you. You know what? It's just, okay, this is pretty. This is beautiful. Looks like a plague doctor mask, a carnival mask. No fucking way! Oh my god, this is beautiful.
It's not as old as it looks, but it's
that's
a really
fine.
nice copy.
It's a beautiful copy. Okay, so hold on, let me make some noise real fast, guys. So one of my favorite novels, which is also one of the hardest novels to read in my opinion, is The Count of Monte Cristo. You know, it's the best fucking revenge story ever written. And this guy bought me this beautiful, gorgeous copy of The Count of Monte Cristo. Oh man, this is... I love the way it feels. Mm-hmm. Okay, hold on. I'm glad you did that because I forgot I'd gotten you something. I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, while he's doing that, I'll talk a little bit about where I was and why we didn't record last week. I know we talked about at the end of last episode that I was going on vacation with my wife. It was our anniversary, our 15th anniversary last week. Interestingly, we ended up in South Florida, and you know the TikToks have been going around about the old Florida bookshop. So it ended up being in Fort Lauderdale, and I was like, hey, that's only 30 minutes away from where we're going to be at. Plus we have to go through the Miami airport. Why don't we go check out the old Florida bookshop? And I'm going to tell you,
Did you get that there?
I did.
Oh, that makes it even better.
I'm going to tell you that honestly, I've been to a lot of used bookstores. I love used bookstores because I like old books. I like old looking, nice looking books, right? Yeah. It's not a huge store like you would think from the images, but
Actually, I think I would like that better.
It's a little cozier.
Yeah, like the crowded in books. Like, to me, that's cozy.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. The shelves were floor to ceiling. I mean, they had everything from modern fiction to 1600s books, from the Count of Monte Cristo. This is a 1993 edition, by the way, which is not
almost
new.
As old as me.
Yeah, not new.
Almost as old as me.
And you know, as far back as I saw a copy of Complete Tales of William Shakespeare from, I think, 1920 something.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You know, actually, I think I do need to stop you real quick. Because I think the more glaring question on mine and everybody's mind is, what old book did you buy for yourself?
I didn't. I didn't. No, that's not true. I did buy an old book. It just was not the copy I was looking for.
But okay, but you still, what did you get?
I got Frankenstein. But I also told them to look for an older copy. I like the robust, like.
How old is your copy?
It's a I think it's also from like 97 or
I
something
mean,
like
that's
that.
still like I know what you're
It's
wanting.
a paperback.
You're
right?
wanting, you know, like
Well, you saw my Moby Dick.
yeah, like you want you want that book to look weathered because
Yeah.
it's old.
Yeah, actually, my next book purchase, if I can get the money, the local bookstore has a complete works of Washington Irving from 1880.
Ooh, that is nice.
Yeah, they want $400 for the set.
not
That's not
bad.
bad, but it's a lot, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, hey, you know, maybe for Brittany's birthday you'll make that $400.
exactly, yeah. So that's my next book purchase. In fact, I'm going to be building a library in my home, and so one of the things I want to do.
Fart all over it.
Well, I will absolutely murder you.
How will you even know? Silent but deadly.
Oh yeah, I'll put in CO2 detectors,
That's fine.
or whatever.
Exactly.
Methane.
You don't know what you're
detectors.
talking about.
Anyways, so because I know I'm doing that, I've started buying old books.
Yeah.
Right. Just collectible looking, like they aren't just looking collectible; they are collectible.
We're gonna have to
books.
put in some work up there then to make sure that those are safe.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll have it's in a room with a window, which means that I'll have to put a heavy curtain over
You
the
know what
window.
we could do? We could build a bookshelf that's like you can open it and it's another bookshelf behind.
Yeah.
And that's where all your cool old books are. So they're still in there. You can still open it and look at them, but they're protected from the sun. And then when you close it, just other
Yeah.
books are in the front that aren't as important. Because we're gonna want to you're gonna want a curtain up there no matter what.
Yeah, it's gonna have to have a heavy curtain to protect the books, like all of the books, right?
Yeah.
The spines, because my house faces north-south. So from the morning time, the back of the house gets all of the light, and then once it hits noon, the front of the house is getting all the light.
Yep.
And that window's on the front of the house,
Yep.
so it's no breakage.
No, because I'm envisioning that area of the house,
Yeah.
and I know that I'm walking down, and there's that. Well, why don't you just turn that whole place into a library?
So we're gonna do a reading nook on the opposite side.
Yeah, no, I remember
where the
that.
other window is, which I think is going to have some like shelving and things like that.
And you're gonna need a light in there because, like, if the moon's really pretty, you can open up the curtains, lay down. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the main reason why I wanted to put it in that room is because it's perfectly placed for me to put a secret door.
Yes, it 100% is.
And so I will have a secret door.
And I don't know if I'm gonna help you build it or not, because I don't know if
Might survive.
no, like, well, yes, but we're not doing that in the summer because if
No.
we tried that in the summer, we would die. But like, I don't know if I want to help you build it or get there once it's built and be completely amazed.
Enamored?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got you something. It's actually it's a gift for both of us. It's like a buddy's gift.
Okay.
I think you're gonna like this. Yeah, this one's yours.
Oh, nice. It's a Ghetto and Gojo hats, huh?
Yep. 100%. Because I went to that anime convention while you were gone.
Well, we talked about it. Everybody wants to be Gojo, but the more we talk about it, I am the more Gojo like person.
No.
Or sorry, Ghetto person.
Yeah, Gato.
Well, I anglicized it a little bit.
A little bit. I guess I'll take my headband off.
Nice.
I'm gonna have to tighten mine because I have the tiny head syndrome.
Oh, same. Oh, this thing almost tried to swallow me.
No, it did swallow my head a little bit. Crunchyroll, you need to do better with hat sizing, y'all.
So that's what we've been up to. I mean,
Well, I also did something while you were gone.
oh yeah?
Yeah, I ran a Spartan race.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah. Seems like only one of us cares about their best friend. You
I
have a cat in your jacket.
Hello, cat. Do you belong here?
She belongs where she wants to go. She's a kitten. Yeah, no, that was a good time. Now Brittany wants to run some, so we've canceled our gym membership, which I know seems counterproductive, but we're building a gym in the garage.
Yeah. I also heard that you impaled yourself.
I did. I didn't show you. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that seems like a perfectly good reason not to do a Spartan race.
No, because the funny thing is this did not happen in the woods. We were walking down a lane created in a wide open field, and there was one single stick, and it did not look durable. So I was like, I'll just step on it. I stepped on it, and I ended up stepping on the end, so it popped up and wedged between the ground and my shin.
Did you Looney Tunes yourself?
I did. And the worst part is, it was a 5K. We did the sprint, which is a 5K. That happened just barely over a mile in.
So you still had.
So I was bleeding the whole
2
race.
miles left. I mean.
Yeah. I ran it in an hour 39, which is odd because I'm older, not in as good of shape, and in much more broken than I was 9 years ago, still in the Army when I ran it, at an hour 44.
It was probably who you were with is the big part of it. Had some driving factors.
Maybe, but I also was actually able to do some of the things that I failed on last time, even though I'm weaker.
That's that old man strength.
It is. It must be. It must be. Well, let's get to the topic at hand.
Yeah, I guess we've done our intro of how we've been, and
Yeah.
I'll let you start.
Good, because I took one single note.
Okay.
We know how old she is.
The main character.
Yes. She is 18 years old.
Did I miss a?
No, you just didn't think about doing the math because she was 6 during
Yeah.
the vampire
Oh, it has
attack.
been 12 years.
And it has been 12 years. It's specifically stated now that it has been 12 years.
Yeah.
So we have a definitive age, but I don't think we've heard her name yet, have we?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so because her father refers to her as
Some cute
a pet name.
Yeah, we still haven't heard the lead character who is telling the story.
Yeah.
Because because we also learned this is her writing it many years later.
Yeah.
So now she's like almost 30 as she's writing the story. Still don't know her damn name. I'm sure. I'm pretty sure it is actually on the back of my book.
I think we do from the back of the book, but not from the story.
Yeah, they're 100%. It's on the.
Laura.
I don't know if that's right though, because of mine. The name it says on the back of mine is not her name.
Well, you're looking at.
Yes, no, but that's what I'm saying. This character, that is not their name. Yes. But she's we're getting ahead of ourselves. We'll get there.
Okay, yeah, because it's in.
Yes, no,
Okay.
I know.
Okay.
I know what that name is, but
Yeah, okay.
that's what I'm saying.
Let's start from the beginning of where we left off.
Before we get way ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, okay, so I guess the last thing we talked about was the carriage kind of turning over and, the mother being in a hurry and the main character's father saying, hey, we'll take care of her while you're gone, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
The daughter.
And we were trying to figure out, we were trying to put the pieces together about, well, who's this fucking vampire in the story? Because if it was any one of these people we've just met, our heroine would recognize them.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And the first thing that happens when we pick up, the first thing that happens at the beginning of chapter 3, it says, as I looked at I couldn't see her expression because I was, she was facing away from me.
Yep.
So that explains why we didn't know at the time anything, what she looked like, anything. But it didn't take long, really. I mean, right after that, they're saying, "Hey, we'll call the doctor to come check you out."
She goes to bed,
been ill,
and our heroine really wants to go visit this girl.
Yeah,
and it's told no, let the doctor look at her tomorrow. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I love the moment when she walked into that room for the first time.
Yeah.
Where both of them looked at each other, and we're like. It was like the Spider-Man meme.
Yeah, I know you.
And it was 100%. She recognized her as the fucking vampire that bit her. But I love how already the gaslighting is happening.
Yeah.
She's like, oh no, the vampire
first.
Immediately said, oh, I know your face. I had a dream about you when I was 6.
12 years ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, the gaslighting began immediately.
Well, it has. So here's an interesting thing too. I mean, like, not to. So, yes, as the reader, I don't know what this literary term is. I always forget it, but it's where the reader knows more than the main
We
character.
actually we had this exact conversation, and you said it the exact same way last episode. It's gonna bug you till you die.
Maybe I should have just Googled it last time. I will do that this time. I mean, like,
As he makes 0 moves to Google, it's okay.
I don't know. But you're right. Like, she tells the story about how, hey, I dreamed of you, or I saw your face 12 years ago. In my cribbage or
Her nursery.
Her nursery.
Because she talked about how her nursery, she made sure to, when she spun that tale, she talked about how her nursery, this is Carmilla we're talking about now, the character of Carmilla, because that's how she introduces herself just after this conversation. She definitely played down what her nursery looked like. She was like, oh, it looked,
plain and open and
yeah. And I love how in both versions they cuddled.
Yeah.
But in Carmilla's version, they were children cuddling.
Yeah.
In her mind's eye.
As a dream, right?
Yeah, sure. And our amazing heroine bought into it immediately. And immediately was like, well, maybe it was a dream.
Yeah.
Fucking wild. The gaslighting is...
This whole... I mean, the next couple of chapters, like, are seemingly short, but they've covered so much, like...
So much.
Depth to the characters, right?
Yes.
I think after that, they spend the rest... Like, from then on, they're just spending time together.
They are attached to the hip. You know what? One thing I do want to talk about, when our heroine is talking about wanting to go see Carmilla for the first time.
Yeah. Oh.
That loneliness thing comes up, and she's like, you town people wouldn't be able to realize the sheer joy of the isolation ending and having a friend.
Yeah, but the thing that follows that is like a feeling of discomfort as well as excitement.
Yes, because that primal part of her, that thing that the uncanny valley develops from, even though in her psyche she bought into it, somewhere deeper down, that fear is like, no, this monster hurt you already.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. You good?
No, yeah, very good. Yeah, it was extremely interesting. I think even as well, yeah, I think as it progresses, they talk more about even through her excitement, she still has this pit in her stomach almost.
Which again makes sense because, like I
it's
said,
referring back
she
to,
would recognize the creature that attacked her immediately, and it's going to cause issues. And inside, there's already a struggle going on.
So, do you think? I mean, there's some like not alliteration. There's some
onomatopoeia.
Yeah. There's some allegory. I don't know. Whatever it is. Anyways, there's
is it
some
allegory or
no
allegory?
Illusion.
Illusion. Okay.
Illusion is what I was thinking of.
It alludes to.
Yeah. There's an allusion to sort of this like supernatural drawing to Carmilla.
Yes.
It's almost like she knows that she shouldn't be as comfortable as she is.
Yeah, 'cause she talks about that. She's like, I know I shouldn't be this open and comfortable, but I can't help myself.
Yeah, it's almost like that, like vampire hypnotism.
Yeah, like the mesmerism. Yeah. Maybe it could be.
And we don't know yet, but it's seemingly like that is the case. She was immediately enamored, not just with the fact that she recognized her face, but with Carmilla as a person.
Well, especially her beauty.
Right.
Like, everybody that has referred to Carmilla now has called her the most beautiful person they've ever seen.
I think it was Mademoiselle.
Her father even did.
Yeah, one of them was like, she's the most beautiful girl I've ever seen. Like, to our main character.
Yes.
With our main character, like, listening to it.
And you know, like, when I was reading that, I was like,
It's kind of...
that's kind of fucked up, man.
Yeah.
Like, hey, girl, you're kind of pretty. But that over there, she, her, that goddess of a creature is the most stunning thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But you're pretty, too. That's exactly how that shit came off to me. I was like, wow, Mean Girls.
It was jarring, right?
Regina George over here.
Yeah.
Mademoiselle Regina George, folks.
No, very interesting. I think, too, what we're seeing is, you know, we talked about it last time. Like, what if, you know, this was the creature traveling through the woods and things like that? You know, killing the creature who killed the young lady who was gonna come spend the summer. And I think since then, in the last couple of chapters, we've seen more stories of
3
girls.
or 4.
Yeah.
Well, it's not even just girls at this point. Now it's like adults too. So my thought process is, because now they're thinking there's like a plague. My thought process is Carmilla's sneaking out at night.
I had the same thought process. And that like, because it's really interesting though, because we always, like, when we started in the episode 2, right? So the last episode, we talked about how kind of remote the Schloss was.
Yeah.
And even like hearing about the other folks who have been killed or have died, I guess is the way it's alluded. They're like a mile away or the next town over.
Yeah.
Or,
Like, but those are like small little villages,
Right.
You know, they're nothing major.
yeah, and it's all like on foot. You know, she's traveling on foot, which we don't know the vampire lore of this book yet, right? Like, so far we know. I think that the carriage came in the daytime, right?
No, because remember
moon
I
was
talked
out.
about how beautiful they described the moon and it twinkling on the windows.
Yeah. Oh, they made mention of a dark figure that stayed in the carriage.
Yes, I actually didn't like how that was described, because this person is clearly a darker complexion person, and it definitely, because it said, hold on. Nope, not there. Not there.
Yeah, so we just discussed today that we should use like tabs or note-taking equipment to not have to like flip through the book without knowing. It should be right at the beginning of chapter 3
No, was it?
because they're talking about the carriage moving on.
I'll find it in a second.
Because my takeaway was that it was not a darker skinned person, and maybe it could have been, but
She described a hideous black woman with a sort of colored turban on her head and who was gazing all the time from the carriage window.
That's interesting.
That's exactly what it says.
Let's see. Let's see. Where, let me see.
There. Because she just got done talking about how she is absolutely beautiful.
Okay.
The Mademoiselle said that. Oh, and they talked about how sweet Carmilla's voice was. Yeah, it's the.
I'm wondering if my translation's
Let me
different.
see. I'll find it faster.
Because you already know what you looked at.
Yep. It is. Did you remark a woman in the carriage after it was set up again, who did not get out, but only looked from the window?
And then before that...
Ours is different. Yeah, because mine says, did you remark a woman in the carriage after it was... Oh, hold on.
No,
I didn't go far enough.
Then she described a hideous woman
Yeah.
who was gazing all the time from
Still
the carriage
different.
window, nodding and grinning derisively towards the ladies with gleaming eyes and large white eyeballs and her teeth set as if in a fury.
Yep, I have all that. Yours just doesn't have hideous black woman with a sort of colored turban on her head.
So it just left the... Interesting.
That is interesting.
Huh.
So we did not have similar reactions to reading that part, because mine was like, wow, that's kind of racist as shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it would probably be, right?
And I'm sure it actually was.
Yeah.
But like I had a reaction like, oh, I don't like that. But then clearly now I know why you didn't have the same reaction, because yours is different.
Yeah, but also I wonder though. I guess that could come. I would love to have the original text right now, but
Yes. That would be helpful. And I think when it says a hideous black woman, with the rest of the paragraph, I don't think they're referring to
Her
a black
being-
person. I think, you know, we're looking more like a Middle Eastern,
yeah,
or
but
maybe even Romani.
But I wonder too if it's not like I wouldn't, because like if it's
Oh, because you could be like black as in like their demeanor, their like aura.
dark,
Yeah.
But also,
But I don't think so because of the turban.
But beyond that, though, is like, is it racist to call someone hideous, right? If they are that, right? What if they are older and like,
yeah. I was just saying the way the whole thing was described.
yeah, it was pretty derisive.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't. That was interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. That's a neat find there. I like that. Is mine older than yours or newer? That's a curious question.
Yeah. Well, it could be just that whoever did the translation. Mine's Pushkin Press.
Where do you see Pushkin Press?
Mine's right on the front. That's yours.
Oh, Word Fire Press.
And mine was 20. This paperback edition was published in 2025.
Mine was in 22.
And the world has changed in 3 years.
This work is in the public domain.
Yeah, so that means we can probably find the original translation and also use it as inspiration for anything we want.
Yep. That's more what I was thinking about. Which also explains why Carmilla is like, I literally just watched Vampire Energy Bloodlust.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot the villain of that is Carmilla.
Yeah.
Like I completely forgot that was the villain.
Well, we kind of spoke on that in episode 1 too. Is like your tantamount female vampire like
Is
is
Carmilla.
Carmilla. So
Yeah.
interesting. I thought kind of following that logic that we were talking about of them being really close together.
And when we say close together, we're not talking about like how he and I are close. We're talking they are literally like this.
Well, they talk
All
about
the time.
holding hands,
Arms wrapped around the
wrapped
waist,
around-
the cheek kisses.
Well, that comes later than what I'm talking about, though.
Well, dude, it was arms around the waist.
Come into the
very
frame.
quickly. Oh! Did I go too far?
You were hanging out.
Oh, my bad. I was just trying to
Put a little space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want your cooties.
Hey, look. Don't know if I've got any. If I did, it would be scary. There was. Oh, right. So the other young people or other people having died the same way, where they start off being a little sick and then they just can progressively get worse. And there was a reaction that Carmilla had. She got angry, but what was the specific circumstance of her being angry?
Which time? She's gotten angry twice.
But I'm talking about the first time.
The first time is when they saw the funeral, and our heroine was singing the hymns, and she was
Yeah.
like, "These are peasants. Why do you care?"
It was
like, and the hymns bother me like deep inside.
Yeah, and it was her father saying something like,
Cat in the bag.
we
have a kitten issue tonight.
Yeah, we're created in the image of God,
Mm-hmm.
and whatever God wants will have been, basically.
Yep, and Carmilla did not like that.
She did not like that. She's talking about nature, creation, creator, nature, like plague, nature, like all of these
Carmilla
things.
was like, everything is nature.
Yeah.
I do want to touch on this specific scene. This was damn near the middle of the day.
But we were indoors.
No, they were out walking in the trees because they sat down on a bench. Carmilla sat down on a bench outside because it was a funeral procession. This was during the daytime.
Yeah.
And she talks about Carmilla usually gets up in the late afternoon and they'll go for walks, but she doesn't have a lot of energy.
Yeah.
But the sunlight's not killing her.
That's true. You're right. Because the next time she gets angry is from the peddler, or they call him...
I did like the peddler.
He was cool.
Which really begs the question: when No, it has to be, because the origin of vampires dying by sunlight was in the original Nosferatu silent film.
1920.
Yes. And the sunlight didn't actually kill him. There was like way more to it than that. There was like a prophecy and everything. There's a cat still messing with your stuff. But yeah, no, it's interesting to see like that another confirmation that that's where vampires being killed by sunlight came from was.
But I wonder if there's not some because I've watched Dracula and I've read part of it, so I don't know like the whole lore there that you'll know.
I'm not going to answer these questions because we're going to be reading that book, and there's things that I want you to find out as you're reading.
Yeah, but what I was going to say is there seems to be a relationship between Carmilla as a potential vampire. We don't know for sure right now, but it's pretty clear.
Yes, the fuck we do.
I mean,
it's pretty clear. It was laid out in front of you.
As the reader,
like they put a white poster board in front of you with gigantic, thick black letters.
Yeah, as the reader, we have a clear understanding that is the highest likelihood. That's how I'll put it.
My brother in Christ, she recognized her from the vampire attack.
But then they talk about, yes, she recognized the Carmilla from her vampire attack.
Because I told you she would remember that face anywhere. I told you, and I was right.
I know. Maybe I'm being a little too obtuse right now.
Yes, because we're reading a novel called Carmilla about the vampire Carmilla, and we just met the character Carmilla, who looks exactly like the vampire that bit our heroine when she was 6 years old. It's the fucking vampire, bro.
Yeah, well, and that's fair.
But is her mom a fucking vampire? Like another vampire?
Oh, Carmilla's mother figure?
Mother figure, yes.
Yeah, maybe, and
traveling at the dead of night like that.
Yeah.
With... Oh, yeah, because they described the escort of that caravan as looking like fucking hardcore highwaymen. Like thieves. Like, you're traveling with dangerous men as guards, the dead of night. You have a vampire with you. And you're on urgent business with a mysterious turbaned person. Sounds like a vampire cabal.
It's potential, but I wonder, though, too, if
it is, we won't see that.
Well, and was Carmilla not just using that group as a means to an end?
Maybe.
Which we may hear about through...
We may.
Yeah.
Because, again, there's still so much we don't know.
It was... What was also interesting to me, and like we're kind of backtracking a little bit here to that carriage incident, is they talk about in this that the woman told her father that from the time that they're going to be gone, Carmilla won't tell them anything about her family.
Yes. Yeah, and that's driving our heroine insane because her father told her that because he was like, well, I don't really have anything to hide from you.
Yeah.
So, now she's at a point of even knowing she shouldn't be asking questions. She's getting frustrated because she's still asking questions and Carmilla's not answering them.
And she's giving like really kind of like push-offy answers, It's like
she's like, where are you
things,
from? The West.
Yeah.
Like she can't even get Carmilla to say what country or nation or kingdom she is from. Mm-hmm. Like she's getting nothing.
Yeah. So the peddler was a mountebank, is what they called it.
Yes.
Which is just a traveling salesman. Mm-hmm. And what's the first thing?
Also, hold on, because he also gave off like Dungeons and Dragons artificer vibes. Like he's a creator too.
Well, more I don't know. Would it be?
Because they talk about like his magical lanterns.
Yeah.
Like he makes stuff too.
With the dragon newt.
Yeah. Then he also did the thing where like he would take parts of dead animals and stitch them together to make them look like a fantastical creature.
Yeah, there was the dragon newt and...
Oh, he's a fucking snake oil salesman.
He is exactly that.
To answer your question, the first thing he sold them was a protection against... Upire.
And wolves.
Which... This definitely struck me while I was reading it. The first person to make the purchase was Carmilla.
Yeah.
Which makes me think, did she just make the purchase for her own fucking amusement. Like, ooh, look at you, your shit ain't real.
Yeah, well, maybe, but maybe it was, if I don't do this, am I being
yeah,
too obvious about, you know what I mean?
that's a good thought.
But it was really interesting to me. Umpires and wolves, right? Like,
Yeah.
which...
Also, I need to address something real quick. I just looked up at the camera. This doesn't mean RPG as in the rocket launcher. It is a gaming shirt for D&D. I just looked up and all you can see is RPG, and I'm like, I'm not advocating rocket launchers here, guys.
But also,
They are
rocket
fun
launchers.
to shoot, yeah. No, it's a D&D shirt. A real enjoyable hobby. It's based off, the G.I. Joe shirts.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It says we've got a viewer. So hi, viewer, if you're there.
Yeah, I hope we do. I hope it's not us viewing ourselves.
It's possibly us. I still haven't figured this out yet.
Yeah, I don't know how any of this works. I'm just yapping away. If I look up and see somebody say something in the chat, then I'll yap at them.
Yeah, exactly that, right? So, I guess while we're here and talking about it, what about the next step? The next thing the mountebank says. So they sell the Upire and wolf like repellent, right? Whatever that is.
Well, it's like a charm, because remember it was described as being on a slip of paper with like glyphs
vellum,
and stuff. Yeah, it's like a charm.
But what was the next thing? Do you recall?
No, I don't. Now I feel bad that I don't.
It was. I'm also a dentist, and
Oh yes, because the mountebank. How do you say that?
I don't know. I said mountebank.
Yes, the mountebank says something about Carmilla's teeth being long and kind of sharp like her canines, and he was like, I'm a dentist, I can fix that and round those out. And that is the second time Carmilla's ever got angry. She was offended.
Yeah.
Like, how dare you, in my beautiful vampire blood-sucking fangs? Yeah.
That's the second time, but it talks about how she became weak after that, and but then also like recovered really quickly.
Yes, because our heroine was like, let's take you to the doctor again. And Carmilla was very insistent, like, no, I get faint sometimes, but I recover really fast.
Yeah.
I had a thought, and it just escaped me, and it's going to bug me, but it was very applicable to exactly what we're talking about. It's going to bug me now. Oh, no, there it is. So, when she was talking about the 2 times Carmilla got angry,
Yeah.
did she say, up to this point, I'd only seen her angry twice? Or did she say, I've only seen her angry twice?
I want to say it was more to like, in the time I'd seen her, I only saw her angry twice.
Because I was about to say, it'd be really interesting if it was like, because this is, obviously her almost 30 writing this story. If that was the only 2 times she saw Carmilla get angry, that would be interesting to see how they, how that happens going forward. Because clearly there's going to be the big ahead.
Yeah.
There's going to be that split. And if that's the only time she's seen her angry, how is that split going to happen? You trying to find it?
It says the first time I had seen her exhibit any definable symptoms of delicacy of health. No, it was the first time also I had seen her exhibit anything like a temper.
Mm-hmm. This is another case of us having different things.
And then never but once afterwards did I witness on her part a momentary sign of anger. So 2 times in the times that she had known, or the time that Carmilla spent with her, only 2 times was she angry.
I'm interested. Just like
what causes the split? How does like what? Yeah. Like, how does that come
and
to be?
how does she not get angry again? Maybe.
Or maybe she just
like I said last week. this is good.
Yeah.
This is good. Like every time I have to stop because I can't progress past where we're reading for the book club here, I'm like, I don't want to stop.
Yeah.
Like I already know where I think I'm leaning with how many storm clouds I want to give this book just out of the first 5 chapters we've read.
Yeah,
because it keeps you hooked.
And the writing is still interesting, right? Like, I keep talking about how it's almost, written like poetry. And obviously part of that is just from the time, right? But it's not... I've read old books before, right? I've read Chaucer's,
I have
Count of Monte
Count of Monte Cristo, which is not an easy read. A great read, but you gotta focus.
Even some of Poe's is not poetic, right? Like even somewhat like I want to say Black Cat is not as poetic as like The Mask of Red Death.
Yep.
Right. There's not as much allegory and like story being told. So it's just maybe it's part of it is intentionally poetic.
Yeah. I'm amazed at such an old novel, and granted, part of it goes on the translators for doing such a good job, but just how easy it is to read it. Yes, you'll stop and look up a word or a term because they can't change languages, like.
I'd rather they didn't change as much as they do, right?
I like the odd terms and stuff that I don't know.
Yeah,
it's fun to look up, but it's just such an easy read.
Yeah,
it is not hard to read. It's great.
Yeah, the hardest part, like you said, is like a word that seems in an odd place, or maybe the sentence structure is just a little off for that 1 or 2 sentences.
Yeah, or something being described in such an odd way, like the rude bench, and you're just like, what the fuck does this even mean?
Yeah.
No, like it's great.
Highly recommend so far to anybody
Yes.
who wants to join us. We're on, chapter 5. We're reading chapter
going into chapter 6.
Yeah, going into chapter 6.
Oh, I do believe that first illustration I showed, that is Carmilla and our heroine.
Okay.
Because I have another illustration.
Oh, of our
That's Carmilla.
main character. You think this is?
Yes, because they talk about Carmilla having dark hair.
Yeah. Okay.
Because remember, you know what? I'm going to touch on that real quick. Our heroine is thoroughly, absolutely obsessed with Carmilla's hair. She goes into great detail talking about how she would just play with this woman's hair for hours. She would a simple word, braid it and then unbraid it and just let it fall because her hair is so weighty and thick. She loved Carmilla's beautiful, dark, thick, heavy hair.
Yeah. They did say that she would put her hands under it and lift it up just to feel the weight.
Just to feel the weight. Like she would just run her fingers through it. She'd braid it. She'd let it fall and watch it. Yeah. She's enamored by the beauty.
Yeah. The next part, right, is really when it gets more into, not the next part that we haven't read, but chapter 5, which is the part we haven't really talked about as much yet, is really when you start to see more of that like romancy, like nature. Yes,
because it starts out, I think it starts in chapter 4 with like, Carmilla giving her kisses on the cheeks.
And holding that. Well, I
think toward the end, but by the time we get done with chapter 5, Carmilla just straight kisses this woman.
Yeah, they're walking through with their hands wrapped around each other tightly, right?
Because Carmilla asked if they could take a walk to the road and bridge because of its beauty.
Yeah. And
she's casted. She's reeling. She's getting a bite.
Well, yeah, but even the reaction to that kiss was interesting. It was like she was drawn to it, but then there was like not like a fear or anything, but more like a uncertainty.
Well, again, like we talked about in the very first episode when we were talking about what we're going to be reading, we ourselves touched on the setting and the time period And for a young girl, having been raised by her father, like, she knows, men love women, women love men. That's what she knows. And then this is happening. I'm sure it's confusing for her. She doesn't dislike it, but she's so unsure that it could cause some fear,
Yeah. It says, I started from her. She was gazing on me with eyes from which all fire, all meaning had flown, and a face colorless and apathetic, right? That's immediately after the kiss.
Yeah.
So it's like she kissed me with fervor, not like a passionate kiss, but with passion,
Yes,
right?
like it wasn't like a deep, like Hollywood movie into the film passion kiss, but it was a kiss of passion.
Yeah, and then when she looks back at her face, it's like lifeless and apathetic. So it was an interesting, like, that.
It's because Carmilla's already playing the game.
Yeah, and so in her head, she's like, why are, like, you just kissed me the way you did, and then, like, your face doesn't look like how that felt.
Yeah. And playing the game is actually the wrong term here. Carmilla has started the hunt.
Yeah.
And she is playing with her food.
Yeah, the next part's when I talk about how she comments on her looking ill, and she's feeling a little weak, and then she's all better now, right? So
yeah.
The kiss was rejuvenating her in some way, maybe.
You know what? That's a good maybe. I don't know. Because, most vampire lore that we all know and generally follow is because of Dracula.
Yeah.
And then, Nosferatu, which expanded on that a little bit with, like, the sunlight thing. So, we're kind of in uncharted waters here with Carmilla, because this is, before that, there's always been lots of vampire lore throughout the world. So I'm interested to see what we're doing here.
That's, you made a point, right? Is like in most common, like, vampire lore and things like that, you're talking about the Dracula inspired. One of the series I like to read, or from one of my favorite authors, is Sherilyn McQueen. What?
Go ahead.
In her adult fantasy romance novels, is the Dark Hunter series.
You already know why I laughed at you and gave you that look.
Because Chronicles of Nick.
100%. I already knew what series you were going for.
Anyways, in her adult romance books, they have, dream vampires who suck the
Dresden Files has 3 types of vampires in it.
Oh, interesting. So hers, they have good dream gods and bad dream gods, and the bad dream gods are they feed on the nightmares of people.
Yeah.
And then
sounds like a hag, like a night hag or something.
Yeah, and then she has they have regular vampires in the kind of lore, but it's not really delved too deeply into.
See, I don't even think the term regular vampires is applicable. Like, look at, like, the Jiangxi from, I think, China. Is that China? The Jiangxi?
Sounds right.
It's either China or Japan. I don't know.
Well,
which.
it sounds Chinese.
It sounds Chinese, yeah. But, like, its lore and how it operates and attacks and feeds is different than what we know because of Dracula.
Well, yeah, Western. So I guess when I say regular vampire, I mean like the Western understanding of vampires. Yeah. But she also has vampires who they're called daemons, Daimon, which are vampires who suck the blood to kill their prey, but really what they're sucking or what they're going for is the soul of the prey. So soul-sucking vampires versus blood-sucking vampires, and then dream-sucking vampires.
Yeah, it's like the Dresden Files is 3.
Yeah.
You have the Red Court, the White Court, and the Black Court. The Red Court is what, in the earlier stories, you deal with a lot. And they do, like, drink blood and stuff, but their actual form is like a bloated giant bat. Then your Black Court, our protagonist Harry Dresden is like, this is more what, when you think of like vampires, this is more what it is, only they definitely look more corpse-like.
Yeah.
And then you have your White Court, who are like emotional energy vampires. They don't suck blood and stuff.
Yeah. And that's really so. From what we know about the deaths, right, is that it's happening over time. It's not immediate.
Mm-hmm.
And so, is the bite how that's happening, or can they drain on the energy?
I don't know.
Also, right? Or can Carmilla, I guess, really?
Because like Nosferatu, like his thing, most of the deaths in the entire story aren't from Nosferatu the vampire killing people. He's a plague bringer. And it's plague that's killing most everybody.
Yeah.
Like, I think he bites one person the whole story.
Huh.
One single person. I think. I could be wrong.
I don't know that I've watched that one. Like, actually watched Nosferatu? You're going to recommend the new one?
Yes. Yes, I am. But I'm also going to say 1,000% watch the original.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, who was that? It's escaping me.
That made the original?
Bela Lugosi?
No. That's the Universal Monsters Dracula.
Okay.
This is the 1920 Nosferatu. It's a
Yeah.
silent film.
Okay.
It's great. Plus, you get to watch Count Orlok doing a fucking cartoon sneaking while carrying a coffin. It's fucking hilarious.
Nice.
Because all Nosferatu is literally like an illegal adaptation of Bram Stoker's Dracula. That's literally what it is.
You think illegal?
Yes, it was.
Huh.
That's why the changes. That's why Dracula and Nosferatu. You're like watching it. You're like, so much of this is exactly the same, but there's just enough that it's different.
Yeah.
Because they were wanting to make Dracula. I think it was in Germany. It was made in Germany, but they didn't have the rights, so they had to change things. I'm
not familiar with copyright laws that old, because I know it's been in recent news how Disney lost the perpetual rights to, or not perpetual, but I guess they haven't lost the rights, but Steamboat Willie has entered the public domain.
Yes, it's just because they didn't renew copyrights and stuff like that.
So it's not that they didn't renew copyrights; it's that after a certain period of time, things become public domain. And it was.
I only know this stuff about Dracula and Nosferatu not because of copyright laws, but because as much as I love to read, I'm also a fucking movie nerd.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of random movie facts too, and plus I find that as just vampire trivia in and of itself.
Interesting lore and trivia. But I was thinking back, I think it was copyright law was originally 60 years, and Disney, the company, was able to, lobby the government, the U.S. government at least, and got it extended, a couple of times up to I think 95 years total.
Yeah.
Because what Steamboat Willie was 1925 or 22 or something.
I'm gonna reel you back.
Yeah.
We're gonna go far.
I'll do that sometimes.
Well, we both do that. We are terrible, but I sent you a TikTok about that.
Yeah.
What? So.
There's part that we didn't get to yet. Go ahead, but you go ahead.
You're right. I'll let you get to that in just a second then.
Yeah.
On the movie buff thing, apparently there is a pretty good movie adaptation of this.
Adaptation. No.
I'll waterboard you.
No.
But I 100%, because I was thinking, I was like, there isn't really a movie or a Carmilla character based on the book itself, and then I remembered that I did, because we were talking about, maybe we could watch movies too, and talk about the differences. I'm gonna definitely be checking that movie out once we finish this novel, because.
Well, do we do then a prologue episode that's we watch the movie, and then at the end of the prologue episode we can introduce the next book or something?
Oh, you know what? We could do that, like a short episode, just be hey, we checked out the film too.
Yeah,
because a lot of the books that we're talking about reading have film adaptations. Is that better? Adaptations?
Yeah, adaptations. Thank you.
Adaptations. Representation.
So anyways, I think like what we're kicking around a lot of ideas about like, do we want to go to another old book next, or do we want to do something more modern? We haven't decided yet. You'll be the first to know after us, because that's how logic works.
Is it?
I think so.
We have logic?
What is logic?
I don't know.
A white rapper. Well, sorry, not white. He is
I actually don't
multiracial, biracial.
Oh, he's biracial?
Yes.
See, I don't even know this. I don't even know what Logic the rapper
I
looks like.
Yeah, I like it. I like his music. Before I get too in depth, I wanted to make sure I corrected myself, because he talks a lot in there about how, in his music, about how he was kind of shunned by both sides, right? By both of his racial heritages.
That happens a lot.
Yeah.
Because, in his youth, because he's close to my age, like when he was a kid, I was a kid, and that was a big problem for biracial people.
Yeah.
You know, in like the late '90s, early 2000s.
Yeah. So I wanted to correct myself because I wasn't correct. So I guess back to the book though.
Sorry, Logic looks nothing like I would have assumed Logic to look like.
Yeah,
this dude looks like a little like a PC gamer, fucking.
Yeah, his
like a
music's awesome.
stereotypical TV nerd gamer.
Yeah.
Yeah, back on track.
Yeah, back on track. The last thing I think we didn't talk about, because we covered a lot in this episode.
We did.
But the last like really instrumental part that got really interesting was the paintings.
I actually am going to rewind you first.
Okay.
Because that's where I want to end it, I think.
Okay.
One more interesting thing is the doctor and her father had a private meeting, and they were coming out of it laughing, and her father was just saying like offhand things like, next year we're going to talk about unicorns, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, I couldn't imagine what they could have been talking about, but now I think I know.
Yeah.
Do you think this is like do you think this doctor character is going to be what Van Helsing is based off of, partially? Because like you have a random doctor talking about fucking vampires.
Honestly, it could be, but I would expect though that Van Helsing would be more, because Van Helsing generally is like a revenge story at its base, right?
Well, the character of Van Helsing, no.
Okay.
He is a doctor. Like he's like a very crazily intelligent man. But he also is a vampire hunter.
Yeah.
Like, or a monster hunter in general.
Because I was thinking back to the first character who died's father, who's like, I'm going to be gone for a while, chasing down this monster. That could just be like the Belmonts, whatever.
Oh, yeah. Is this how the Belmonts got started?
It could be. I mean...
let's talk about those paintings.
The paintings, right? So this was really interesting. There's, for seemingly no real reason at the beginning. I mean, obviously as a reader, we're like, okay, there's going to be something interesting about these paintings, but they go into a lot of depth about like the paintings were getting restored and now they're back and we are hanging everything up, and like there's this one painting that I'm really excited to see because it was in really bad shape.
Well, they actually talk about in the book why that is. They've already said why that level of detail was important, because remember, these paintings, they're talking about them because the father is getting them restored.
Yeah, because a lot of them are old,
so old,
and a lot of them come from the mother's side of the family.
Yes. So now let's move on to the painting you want to talk about.
Yeah,
it hasn't clicked in your brain yet. I'll get you there.
It was on the back of your book. It was
Mercala.
Yeah, Mercala, Marsala. Yeah, I'm not. Whatever.
It was the painting was of a woman named Marsala, and I can't remember the last name. And this is
Karnstein.
Marsala Karnstein, and this is what's important: the Karnstein name. I'm trying to decide if I want to do the name thing first or the. Oh no, I'm gonna do the painting first.
Okay.
Or you can do the painting. Go ahead.
Well, so as they're kind of removing this painting from its travel package, the first remark that our protagonist has is, basically like, wow, this is Carmilla. This looks just like you.
To include a mole on the neck.
Yeah.
Like to a T.
Yeah, and I think it's if I remember my like levels of or like the sequence of events, if I remember correctly, Carmilla is the one that corrects because she doesn't say Marsala. She says like she says a different name. The protagonist says a different name when she's reading it because it's in rough shape. And if I remember correctly, it was Carmilla who corrects her and says it's actually Marsala Karnstein.
Mm-hmm. It is.
And I'm an old they're like my ancestors.
Mm-hmm. Because obviously this is a painting of Carmilla herself.
Yeah.
She's looking at a painting that was commissioned of her. No, this is why the long detail about getting these paintings restored is important. Because our heroine's mother
is a Karnstein.
Is a Karnstein.
Yeah.
There is somewhere in the past a familial relation between Carmilla and our heroine.
Yeah.
That's why they went into such detail to explain how old the Karnstein family is, just to give us the reveal of the Carmilla painting.
Yeah.
And for her to say, oh, yeah, like way back in my ancestor days, we were part of the Karnstein line, which is our heroine's mother's line.
Yeah. So all of it's just everything that almost in a way like Attack on Titan, right? Like every little thing.
You know what? Yeah, that makes sense because so far every little detail has been important. The smallest details are important.
Yeah, but they make it grandiose so you can't miss it. Right?
Yes.
It's like a small detail in a big way. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why it's really interesting and also why we can kind of see what's coming.
But that's the thing. We can't now. That painting was such a bombshell.
Oh, right.
Like all we know is that
Carmilla's the vampire.
Her and I'm going to start calling her Laura because in the back of my book, her and Laura start having a relationship. There's going to be some kind of fucking aftermath. But why Laura? Like
Specifically. Yeah.
How are they actually connected?
Yeah.
Like, we know that there's a split. We know there's going to be some kind of crazy aftermath that led to Laura writing this all down. Mm-hmm. But we don't know a fucking thing that's going to lead up to it or how it happens.
Yeah.
And I am like, oh, I need it. The web is being spun.
Yeah, I mean, really, what do we know? Like, from beginning to end, we know at this point Carmilla is the vampire. We don't know where she's from, but we know that she's at least killing other people surrounding.
My hat's off to you, Lefanu, because, damn, you are keeping the mystery alive with this book.
Spectacular.
Spectacular.
And we're not even halfway through the book yet, really.
No, because we're about to start chapter 6, right?
Mm-hmm. And there's 16 chapters.
Yeah, we got 10 chapters left, man. Oh, so close.
You guys, when you start listening, you'll have to tell us like how you like our chapter by chapter playthrough. We're doing like we did 2 chapters. Well, we did the prologue and the first 2 chapters last time. We've done 3 chapters this time. I know that like typically a book club will cover a book per session, but there are also longer sessions in between.
Mm-hmm. I think honestly, as much as I want the 3 chapters, I think 2 is better because it's less information for us to talk about, so it's easier for us to stay on track. Because we definitely bounced around a lot today.
Yeah, but it was all tangentially related.
I hate you. I heard I was like, he's gonna say it. He's gonna say it. Yes, but I think we were a little too scattered today because we were processing so much that we wanted to talk about from a good span.
Yeah.
I think as much as we want to keep reading, I think the 2 is the number.
Yeah, I worry, and this is why I was telling the viewers to like let us know what they think.
Yeah, obviously, I want to know.
I worry that while we're having a lot of fun dissecting all of the little intricacies,
Ooh, that's true.
Is it really interesting to them, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, that might be another good reason though to do 2 chapters because we're gonna spend a little bit more time on the little intricacies. We're also gonna spend much more time on specific big details.
Yeah.
that we're not spending as much time on if we do 3.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to do what we're doing this time, and
I mean, let us know.
Yeah.
We are working on getting all of our social media links on all of our things to include our email, so you guys can let us know. You know, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube comments, email us. We're working on getting the links out.
yeah. And let us know where you're looking for your information generally. Maybe that's something we haven't considered social media wise.
Yeah.
You know, but until then, you know, we've got comments on YouTube, comments on Twitch. I think that's a thing. And
Oh, don't forget the most important thing. Smash that bell button.
yeah, like and subscribe, you know, and
Sorry, I just had to smash that bell button because it's the dumbest shit in the world.
it gets, look,
It works,
It's about
though.
the excitement,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And every day I'm excited when we come in here. So
I know, yeah, like when I saw you right before D&D, I was like, there's so much I want to talk to you about, but I'm not allowed to.
yeah.
I was dying inside that whole time between us first seeing each other today and us sitting down to start this episode. I was like, foaming at the mouth, man. I thought I was rabid.
Yeah, no, it's been great. So listen, we're kind of at that time.
Yeah, I think we've ran its course, I think.
Yeah.
There's a storm brewing. Let's drop anchor. You don't drop anchor in a storm. Try and get away
Probably
from it.
not. Yeah. I don't know if that's a good idea.
That was stupid. I was trying to be clever. I'm just being an idiot.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? There's no storm. Let's drop anchor and go to sleep. How about that?
Well,
Is that better?
there's always a storm
And stories.
and stories.
We're fucking nerds.
All right. Thanks for coming out and watching. And, you know, like we said, hit us up on our social media platforms of your choice. And
Yeah, you can find us at Storms and Stories BCP.
yeah.
Pretty much, on Instagram and TikTok. Or you can just, I know on TikTok, you can just search Storms and Stories. You'll see our logo. Our logo, is it uploaded to
Yeah.
Twitch and YouTube?
Yeah, everything's up.
Okay.
And we'll see you next time. The next time should be...
Oh, yeah, let me pull up the calendar.
Are we
My
doing
bad.
Monday?
Yes.
I think we'll have 2 next week.
Are we doing?
Potentially.
We'll talk about it next week.
Yeah.
Yes, so the next episode will be April 14th at 11 p.m. Eastern Time.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, for those of you who are tuning in and watching us live, if you want to go back and listen to the podcast, we're dropping episodes Mondays, every Monday.
Yeah, it'll be up Monday at 5:30 or 5 a.m. Eastern Time on Spotify for sure. It should be everywhere you're looking at your podcasts, but I am not the most intelligent person when it comes to...
We're working on it.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Yeah, I may have to look at a different podcast hosting service because Spotify's being difficult. But yeah, we'll get there. But at least Spotify for now.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Have a great night.